Hello guys, welcome to my channel. I am Rajnikant and today's video will gonna discuss completable future in Java 8, right? So what exactly this completable future and where exactly we'll gonna use this one, we'll see end to end, right? So please do watch this video completely to have a better idea. Okay, so before proceeding to today's topic, if you have not subscribed my channel yet, please do subscribe it immediately and hit the bell icon to get all the notifications from my side, right? So this is my channel. If you see, a lot of Git videos are over here, and CRUD operations, JUnits, integration testing, and code coverage, and lot of logical questions in Java 8 and other videos are there. If you are really interested, you can have a look. Okay, so now come to today's topic, right? So completable future. Completable future, right? So this is a Java class given in Java 8, right? This is a class given in Java 8. We'll see this completable future, right? Before that one, let's come to future. So this is related to future and completable future, right? So let's see what exactly this future and what are the limitation of the future. So which overcomes by which is mitigated by this completable future, right? So what exactly this future? So future will hold that result of an asynchronous operation, right? The future, which is a interface, will hold the result of an asynchronous operation, right? So before Java 8, let's see how we are performing that asynchronous operation and we are getting that result. Okay, so for that one, already I have defined an this Java class. It's a completable future example, and here I do have a main method, and here one execute task one method is there, from where we are returning one string as a Java, and here artificially I am delaying some 3000 milliseconds, which is approximately 3 seconds. So here I am delaying 3 seconds, then after I am returning a string as a Java. So ideally this execute task, so whatever the task, a long running job or long running time intensive method, time intensive task you want to do, ideally you should put over here, but here it's for demo purpose. Here I am artificially delaying 3 seconds, right? So whatever the long running or time taking task, you can write over here those logics. Okay, so let's see before Java 8 how we are achieving these asynchronous operations, right? Or we can see what are the limitations of the future. Then we'll come to completable future, and how we'll see how we'll achieve, how we'll remove those limitations, right? Okay, so for that one, to run this execute task asynchronously, how we'll do that one? First we'll create a pool of thread, right? So how we'll create a pool of thread? We do have executors, right? So executors, executors, executors dot new fixed thread pool of 10. I am creating a thread 10 threads, a one pool. I am creating one thread pool with 10 threads, right? We'll store here executor service. We'll store that reference, right? Executor service. Okay, so here I am creating a pool of thread, one thread pool with 10 threads. Now what we'll do, right? We'll execute that one, right? Service dot submit, one method is there, and it will accept, I mean, overloaded methods over here. If you see here, submit callable, submit runnable, submit runnable tasks, and something result, right? So overloaded methods over here. So here I am providing one callable. So if you will provide one callable, means it will execute that task and it will result. It will return that result, right? If you know that callable is one interface which do have one method as a call, and it will return some result, right? So here I am passing one callable. Thanks to Java 8, instead of passing creating those callable objects, right? Implementing that callable interface, creating object and passing that object. Instead of that one, simple, pass one lambda over here, right? So here in that lambda I am calling this method. Pretty simple, right? Here we have done. And let me store this one. What it will return? Just see, future of string, right? Let me FUTU, future of string. I will show you that limitation, right? Result. Perfect, right? So here we are getting that result as a future. Just see that what result of this asynchronous operation, is storing into this future, right? Next, if you want to get that result, get that value or get that result, how will do that one? Result dot get. So this get will, what it will do, it will block, right? It will block that execution, the next line of the code. Suppose here some random lines are there, right? These lines of code 61 to 65, these lines of code will not execute until unless we'll get that result. Here it will block, right? So if you want to perform anything on this result, right? Suppose here we are getting Java as a result, right? In the get result we are getting Java string final result, right? So suppose here we are getting Java, that final result as a Java, and you want to perform anything on this result, right? That is, if you want to perform anything on this result, then we are getting blocked. We are getting blocked on 60. We cannot perform anything until unless we will get the result, right? Suppose I want to concatenate java dot concat shastr, which is my channel name, string right? So here we are getting blocked until unless it will not execute these things, right? After doing this thing. Let me run this one. Okay, sorry, here I need to provide one sysout, right? Otherwise how it will print? I am waiting like a fool, right? It will print. I am not providing any sysouts, no. So here I am providing one sysout. Okay, so until unless we'll get the result, it will block over line number 60. Now let's run. After 3 seconds it will run. Just see, Java Shastra, it's printing, right? So here we are getting blocked. This is one limitation. We cannot perform anything until unless we are getting the result, right? On top of this one, this is, here we are getting blocked, right? Blocked. One is, this is one limitation. If you want to perform, if you want to perform anything on top of this result, then you will get blocked, right? This is one thing. Next thing is that if you want to if you want to perform anything on the result, then directly on this future you cannot have any methods, or you cannot chain anything on this result. Just see, result dot get cancel is done, something like this is there. But if you want to concatenate like this, suppose if something is present over here, if you want to do some chain, like streams we do have, right? Streams dot filter dot map dot flat map, how we are doing, like it's a kind of pipeline we are performing, right? So if you want to do like this in future, that is there is nothing is there, right? No chaining. So next is what? No chaining of result or future, right? There is no chaining of result, right? You cannot chain anything. If you want to do, once you will get the result, then only you will apply some concatenate or whatever you want. Once you will get the result, then only. But you cannot chain something on future, right? On this future object you cannot chain. This is one limitation. And third limitation is there is no a great support on exception handling. Right? There is no great support on exception handling, right? This is one thing. I mean, if you see here in that result, is there anything to suppose something exception, some exception handled, right? Suppose some exception occurred during this execution, right? You want to handle it in a graceful way, right? Just suppress that exception, or just log that exception, and you want to return some default result or something you want to return. So there is no support. If you see here result dot, is there anything to support exception handling? No, right? So there is one. This is again one limitation. Exception, no better exception handling. No exception handling, right? This is one thing. And one more thing is that manually you cannot complete. You cannot complete manually. What is this? Manually you cannot complete the future. This is one thing. I mean, you cannot complete it manually. This feature you cannot complete it manually. And one more feature is that suppose that get method is here, right? Result.get, right? So this will block unless you are not getting the result, right? So this is one overloaded method is there. What is this overloaded method? That you can provide some times. I mean, within this time, if it's not getting the result, throw some timeout exception. If you see over here, get the see timeout. I mean, within this timeout, if you are not getting any result, then within this time, if you are not getting any result, then throw some exception, right? Timeout exception. But another version, if you will see, after getting the timeout, if you want to return some default value, there is no option in timeout provide default value. Right? So this is a Java 9 feature. This is introduced in Java 9. Okay, so these things we're gonna see. First we'll see this I mean blocking one. We'll see how this is provide non-blocking, and we'll see how that chaining those chaining things, how we'll do that chaining in the result. And exception handling, this is a separate I mean, this is not the scope of this video, because I mean different ways are there to handle exception, but a bare minimum things I will explain. And in timeout will provide some default value, that is also I will explain. And manually how we'll complete the feature, that one also I'm gonna explain, right? Okay, so let's start. First of all, let's see in completable future how we'll achieve this earlier thing, right? Okay, let's see first the completable future class. So completable future is a class. If you'll see, this is a Java doc. Completable future is a class which implements two interfaces, completion stage and future. These two interfaces it's implementing, right? And here lot of methods are there. Except either, except all of, I mean, this is all these are not the scope of this video, because if I'll explain again it will take long time, right? Okay, so bare minimum things I will explain which are very, very useful. Okay, so first of all we'll see how we'll achieve this thing, right? So how we'll achieve completable future. This provides factory methods to perform this kind of things. So completable future dot, if you see supply async and run async, these two factory methods are very important. So supply async, it will take a supplier, and supply async, one overloaded method which will take supplier and custom executor. If you want to use your own thread pool, then you can have this overloaded method, you can use this overloaded method. But if you want to default thread pool like Foxjoin thread pool, then you can use this supply async and that argument as a supplier, right? So let's pass this one. So this supply async will take supplier, right? Let's see supplier, what exactly the supplier. So in supplier, just see get method is there, so there is no input, it will return a output. Okay, so it will return a result, right? So this is kind of submitting, this is kind of submit and returning one result with callable, right? Exactly like the supply async, it will take a supplier. So supplier is a functional interface and will provide one lambda, so it will return a result. So let's call this method execute task over here. Don't worry, I mean, if you see this is some dummy example, definitely I will have a real-time example and we're gonna see. First let's understand this concept, then we'll see that real-time example already I have. Okay, so here we'll get, we are doing that thing, right? So what exactly it will return? Completable future of a string, completable future, so and string. Okay, result. Now what exactly we'll do, let's see, we'll do this get result dot get, and let's have some sys out dot println, and here I am printing. Okay, now let's run this one. So I have commented everything, right? So first we'll see how it is non-blocking, right? So first run this basic one, then we're gonna see. So it will return Java, right? So we'll see Java. Okay, it's printing Java now, right? So now let's see how it is non-blocking, right? So on this result, you want to perform any transformation. After getting that result, you want to concatenate, right? So how I will do that one? Then apply, one method is there, then apply. So in then apply, what is that argument it will take? Function, right? So suppose here we'll get this data, and data dot concat of right. So just see, so just see what exactly we are doing over here. So what exactly we are doing over here? So on the available of the result, then apply. So when this result will be available, then apply this function or this method. When this result will be available, this is a callback kind of thing. When the result will available, call this method, right? When the result will be available, it will call this one, right? So here it is a non-blocking. Just see, on this result we are applying something, on this result we are performing some operation, but it's a non-blocking. Result is not available yet, still we are applying this one. So here it will not block anything, right? So it's a non-blocking one. So we are overcome this challenging thing, I mean blocked one. So this is non-blocking. Still we are not getting the result, but still here we are applying, right? So whenever this result will be available, then this code will be executed. Right, now let's see. Oh, sorry. So here we'll take that reference, right? Result1 I am taking, okay, and result1 dot get. So if you see line number 71, this will not block. Suppose here some lines of code will be there. So this code will not be blocked. 72, 73, 74, right? This code will not block. It will execute because this is non-blocking. Whenever this result will be available, then it will apply this method. So this is non-blocking. But earlier one, if you will see, after getting this result only, final result dot get, so it will block over here in line number 60. If you see, in line number 60 it will block. Until unless we are not getting this result, we cannot do anything. So here it will block, but here it will not block. Once this result will available, then apply, right? So this is non-blocking. Now let's run and we're gonna see. So if you'll see, Java Sastra, it's printing, right? So it's concatenating that Sastra, right? So this is kind of non-blocking, how we are performing non-blocking, right? So now let's see second one. No chaining result of future, right? There is no chaining. In future, you cannot perform any chaining operation, right? But here if you'll see, result then apply, we are doing some concatenating, right? Then after getting this result, apply something else, then apply. I mean, you want to apply some more thing, then you can go for like this, then apply. Okay, let me apply something. Is okay, we'll get that data, right? Data, then data dot concat is, then I am putting, then apply data, right? So this is just see, we are chaining, we are after getting the result we are chaining, right? You can do like this, but in future this provision is not there. Data dot concatenate my channel. Okay, now let's see the result. So this is chaining, just see, right? We are performing that chaining in the result of completable future. Just see, let's print over here. Java Sastra is my channel, right? So this is kind of chaining on the result, right? So lot of methods are there, like then apply, then accept, then combine. Let's see what other methods are there. Lot of chaining methods are present over here. I mean, this video is not the scope. Just see, then compose, handle, join, accept either, apply, cancel, complete async, right? Lot of things are over here. So ideally, then apply and then apply, then accept, then compose, right? Then combine, right? So to explain these methods, this is not the scope of this video. Okay, still I will accept, still I will explain two things, then apply and then accept, right? So ideally, then apply you can use for transforming anything, right? If you compare in streams map, right? List.stream.map. So what exactly we are doing there? We are receiving that input and transforming something and returning. So then apply is exactly same thing. Get the data, apply some transformation and return the transformation result. Then apply is like that. And then accept. So then accept is like, if you consider that for each. So we should not consider this for each, but this is kind of, it will take the input but it will not return any result. Its return type is void. So then except is return type is void. It will not return anything like then apply. So the use case is, suppose you are getting the data and you want to write into some file. So that time we will not get any result, right? We'll write that data to file, or you are writing into some database. So then that time we can go for then accept, right? So there is two, then apply and then accept. Hope you have got a clear picture. So two things we have seen, right? One is how this is asynchronous or it's non-blocking, and second is how we are doing the chain, right? So here we can perform any chains of thing, right? So this is a dummy example I am providing. We'll see a real-time example, okay? And third one is no better exception handling, right? Suppose some exception occurred during this chain. So how to handle, or in this method some exception we occurred some exception. So how to handle that exception, and we'll provide some graceful result. We'll handle that exception in gracefully manner, and we will provide some result, right? So there is lot of ways are there to how to handle exception, but this video is not the scope of that one. So I'll provide some bare minimum thing, right? So let's do this one. Let me comment this one, and in this result, right? Okay, so let's see. Let me provide here something. Int a equal to 10 by 0. So here we'll get some arithmetic something divided by 0, right? That exception will get, right? Arithmetic exception divided by 0 something will get, right? So how we'll handle that exception? So one way I am explaining over here, result dot handle. One method is that handle. So it will take a by function. If you'll see, it will take a by function, right? So it will take a by function, right? Now let's see. So that first argument is what? In that lambda, the first argument is what? It's a throwable. Is that exception, right? Okay, let's see. Handle, and we'll provide, just see, a lambda. So first will that result, and second one is exception, right? So this handle method will execute at any cost, right? This handle method will execute at any cost, whether it's exception occurred or exception doesn't occur. If any exception occurred, then that time we'll get this exception. Okay, handle. This is one lambda, right? So why it's crying? Okay, so here what we'll do, result already defined, right? RS, I'm providing result. So if exception is not null, if exception happened, then return exception. Else, directly return result, right? Right. So what exactly we are doing over here? On this completable future, we are calling a handle method. So this handle method will execute irrespective of exception occurred or doesn't occur. If any exception occurred, then we'll get that exception over here and result as a null, right? If any exception occurred, we'll get this exception over here, and if it's not null, then return some default value, whatever you want. If no exception occurred, then return this result. Let me okay, let's first comment this one without any exception. We'll see, right? So without any exception, first we'll gonna see, right? So without any exception, what we'll get? This Java. Let's run. Just see, Java is coming. Right now, let's see. We'll do some exception over here. Okay. By explicitly, I am creating one exception over here. Now let's run. So now we should get this exception as a result. Just see, here we are getting this arithmetic exception it's printing, and we are getting this result, Java, right? Okay, so hope you got a clear idea, right, that complete table feature provides a better exception handling mechanism, right? Hope you got it. Now let's see, in timeout provide, right? In timeout provide default value, right? So if you see result.get, it's a blocking operation. Until unless we are not getting any result, it will block over here. So to mitigate that one, we have provided one timeout mechanism, right? So provide that, what is that? One overloaded method is there, right? So timeout and units, millisecond or whatever that you want to do. So for that one, let's have, okay, so let me comment this section, right? And here result. Okay, on this result.get, we'll do result.get result dot, instead of get, first we'll do timeout, completion on timeout, complete on timeout. If any timeout occurred, then just complete this one, right? And provide the default value. If you see, first three arguments are there, one is value, one is timeout, and another is unit. So first default value, let's provide default default value, and next 100 millisecond will provide timeout unit dot, it's a enum, and will provide a millisecond. So 100 millisecond we are providing, right? So now if you'll see, in this execute task, we are delaying 3000 millisecond, right? So definitely we'll get a timeout, because here we are making the timeout with 100 millisecond, right? So now we'll get the default value, will print. So let's see. Oh, will not get. On this one we should get result.get. Will not get the default. So how we'll do that one? We need to store this reference, no? So it will return right. So now result1 dot get, right? So let's run this one. Now we'll get the default value, because our timeout is 100 millisecond, whereas in that task we are making a delay of 3000 second. Okay. Here is that problem. We are making that exception, no? So now let's run this one. Just see, default value is coming, no? So default value is coming. Okay, so now let's see, we'll provide some 4000. Definitely 4000 means it will not come default value, it will come as Java, it will come, because here we are providing 3000 millisecond as a delay, right? So definitely we'll get Java. Array, why still we are getting default value? So 400 millisecond we are providing, 4000 we should provide, no? We'll get Java. Okay, so here we are getting. So three things, what are the things we have discussed? So non-blocking we have discussed, and chaining we have discussed, better exception handling we have discussed, and this timeout default value we have discussed. Then let's see how manually we can complete a future. So like this you can complete result dot complete, right? Result dot complete, like this we can do, right? So this is I mean, you can complete a completable future manually, which is there is no provision in future, right? So now let's see. This is whatever I have explained. It's for a understanding purpose, a dummy application I have given to you. Now let's see a real-time application I am gonna explaining, right? So if you are interested, you can watch this video further. Else you can stop over here, right? Okay, so what exactly I am gonna explain over here, right? So in supply async we are executing some task, right? Execute task, right? So here what we are doing, we are providing some dummy time delay. But now what we'll do, we'll call a API, and we'll get the result, right? Once we'll get the result, then we'll apply some transformation, right? Suppose we'll get the result as a string, then we'll convert that JSON string into Java objects, right? Suppose we'll get a list of user, then we'll convert, suppose we'll get a list of user in string format, right? Then we'll convert that list of user into object, right, in a list. Then after getting that list, we will get all that names of those users, right? So what exactly we'll see, let me explain you. So here already some dummy data is there, so I will use this API list users. So just see here, it will return a list of users, right? If you see, this is one user, ID, email ID, first name, last name, and some avatar. Like this we'll get, right? So what exactly we'll do, in asynchronous operation we'll call this API and we'll get this result. So after getting this result, it will be a string, right? It will be a JSON string. So what exactly we'll do, we'll convert this string, JSON string, into Java object. Then we'll apply some transformation and we'll extract these names or emails, whatever we want, into another list. From this entire thing, we'll that output will get that list of emails, right? Whatever those users are there, we'll get their emails as a list, right? So let's see how we'll do this one. So to do this one, already I have created those classes. So this is a user, ID, email ID, first name, last name, and avatar. This is one thing. If you see over here, this ID, email ID, first name, last name, and avatar, this is those attributes I have defined over here. And this is that main object, page, page, per page, total page, and data. This is there. So for that one, already I have defined one class as a API response. These are the model classes. And here page, per page, total pages, and list of user as a data. And here I am providing JSON ignore properties. This is why I am providing, just see, in that object we do have support, one more attribute as a support. But here in that class I do not have any attribute as a support. So to ignore that one while parsing, just ignore that properties, right? So that's why I am providing here ignore unknown as a true, right? So already I have shown you these model classes. Now let's see how to call this one. So call service, already I have created one method. So here what I am doing, calling that service, this is that URL. So in Java already we have defined classes are there to call a API. So here I am doing that HTTP URL connection, and I am opening that connection. Here I am doing that, what is that method I am providing, and request property we are accepting JSON format, and here I am getting that response code. If it is not 200, then we are printing it's a failing, and here we are getting that result, connection.get response message. Here we are getting that result, and we are returning the result from this method, right? We are calling that API and we are returning that result as a string. This is a string, right? So now call service, now let's call this method. So okay, let me write it again. I will write it again. Okay, so completable future dot supply async, and here providing one lambda calling this method. Okay, so this method, what it will return, completable future of a string. On this result I am applying, then apply, I want to transform that result, response. Okay, so what exactly I will do, so after getting that string, JSON string, I want to pass that result and bind into API response class. So how I will do this one, API response data is equal to new object mapper dot read, right? So read, what it will read, object mapper dot read. So here we'll provide a JSON string, this response, and what is this class, API response dot class. So why it's crying, okay, not reader, yeah, it's a read. New object mapper, why it's there is no method. Okay, let's see. No worries. Dot reader dot, okay, first reader will get, right, read, just see reader, read value, or read, it's read will be there, right? Read value, here will pass what, this is not this result, this response, and this API response dot class. So here cannot resolve method read value. I'm not able to recollect that one. So here we'll provide this response and API response dot class. So here we're not doing anything, just we're converting that string into Java object. Okay, done. So here it will ask for try catch. Okay, here we go, API response data equal to null. Who will remember those methods? No. Okay, so here what we are doing, we are taking this response, right? Whatever that response we are getting from this service call, we are getting that result and we are converting that string into Java class, right? So on this response data, so this response data is API response. If you'll see API response, so here list of user, right? Let's return this one, response data, return response data. Now on top of this one, what we'll do, then apply, again we'll transform. So here in then apply, what we'll get that list, right? So we'll get that list, response data, this list we'll get. So what we'll do, on this list we'll apply stream, response data dot stream, sorry, data dot stream. Response data dot, here get, it's not data, will take response or transformed response, transformed response, and here response dot data dot transformed response dot get data, it will return a list. So API response, this object will get, and from this object we are getting that data, right? This is a list, right? On this response, in this response we'll get this API response object, right? So here in then apply, we'll get this API response object, and we are getting that list of users dot stream dot, what we'll do, a map, user, what we'll get, user, and user whatever you want. Suppose we want to collect emails, user dot get email dot collect, COLLE, collectors dot to string, sorry, to list. Okay, so entire thing will get, right? Then what we'll do, a get. So here get means what will get, list of string means list of emails, and let's store into, actually directly here we can do for each and we can print those stuff, but let's for a better understanding I am putting over here strings final result, right? So what exactly we are doing over here, first we are calling this service, what we are doing, okay, let's call this service, get the result as a string, and we are returning that string. Okay, now after getting that string, what we are doing, we are applying some transformation. So in this transformation we are converting this string into one Java object, this API response. In API response we are binding the data, then list of users as a data, if you see. Then after then apply, again we are applying some more transformation. So what we are doing, after getting this object, API response data object, we are transforming and we are getting this data means list of users. Then we are applying streams on top of that one. Then we are mapping, mapping means we are getting those mail IDs, then we are converting those mail IDs or collecting those mail IDs into a list, right? Now let's print this final result, dot for each will do system dot out, double reference println. Okay, this is that entire things we have done. Now let's print and we're gonna see. Calling service, just see it's calling that service. It will take some time to get those results. No, something went wrong, unexpected character, something went wrong. Okay, no worries. So it's something binding error. Let me run it again. I'm not so okay. Some data problem. It's not able to bind correctly. Okay. Okay. Anyway, I have found out what was the problem. So here we are reading from connection.get response message. So it was not returning that what that actual response. So we are getting something okay here. So right. So that exactly how we'll get that response. So I have changed that little bit code. So here that code over here, and I am writing into that string buffer. I am appending into string buffer over here. So there is no major changes, some minor changes over here, and here we are returning that response. There is no other changes. Just in that API call, we were not getting that response correctly. Right now we are getting that response correctly. Right, and here the same thing. We are not changing anything. Now let's run this one. Right, so it was a minor mistakes from my side. Right, if you see currently it's printing all those what email IDs of those users calling service output from the servers. Right, so this is that real-time example I have explained. Right, so definitely if you'll explain some real-time example means it will take some time, so no worries. Oh yes, if you are really like this video or helpful this video, please do like, share, and definitely comment into that comment section whether anything lagging from my side, so that I will rectify myself, and it will definitely give me some boost to do some more videos like this. Right, so thank you for watching.